Today marks the 100th year anniversary of women first voting in a presidential election. They won the right to vote and ratification of the 19th Amendment on August 18th, 1920. And it was just a few months later when the first votes were cast. So we're here to commemorate that occasion and also for us to celebrate through the dedication of a statue. I want to thank everyone for being here. Tracy, Abby White, and Barbara Hall from our Board of Trustees, our board chair, Tracy Abby White, and trustee, Barbara Hall. Christine Hanlon, who is our Monmouth County clerk, is here and will be speaking in just a few minutes. The freeholders were not able to make it today. They have a press conference. We also have representation from the Grunin Foundation, Jeremy Grunin and Heather. And we have students here as well from Women in Learning and Leadership. We have Roseanne Alvarez, the professor who leads that group, and also Angela Saragossa from the AWCC. And we have foundation representation. We have folks from all around the college here to commemorate this occasion, and I thank you all for being here. I did ask our freeholder liaison, Lillian Burry, to be here with us today. She wasn't able to make it, but she did pass on a few words that she wanted me to say on her behalf. So I'll take a minute to read her words. I'm speaking to you today for three reasons. I'm speaking to you today for three reasons. The first is to gratefully acknowledge the donation of this sculpture of a suffragette by Brian Hanlon, who was once a student here at Brookdale and now is arguably the preeminent artist in the world of sports and clearly so very much more, as we see here today. From the Rose Bowl to the Basketball Hall of Fame, you'll find his work. And if you're a Yankee fan who loved Yogi Berra and you go to his museum, you'll find his work there too. I can only wonder what Yogi would say if he saw himself in bronze. I know any fan would be pleased. As someone who has studied art history, I can tell you I'm looking forward to seeing more of the over 400 unique works that Brian Hanlon has created and the doubtless hundreds more he'll create in the future. My second reason for speaking today is to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution that gave women the right to vote. Here on the eve of Election Day, with millions of votes already having been cast, it's hard to imagine a time when women had no vote. I can't imagine what my life would have been like if I couldn't have fully participated in civic life. And I can only imagine the fearless determination with which those women who fought for the right faced the men who kept control for so long. I think of Susan B. Anthony standing outside of Independence Hall in Philadelphia on July 4th, 1876, reading the Declaration of the Rights of Women of the United States, and the sculpture of her in that moment by our own Brian Hanlon. My third reason is to urge you to take this moment for reflection and pride, and then look beyond it to the next and most important step. That step is to shake off the final limitation that society places on us. That is the limitation of gender politics. I've spent decades working and sometimes fighting with men over decisions to be made an important public policy issue. These were not framed in terms of gender. There are no male roads or female bridges. Focusing attention on gender issues is a way of sidetracking people from the true core of public policy. If there is one thing all my years of service have shown me, is that there is only one good, and that is the public good. And it's more important than gender, race, religion, or political party. It's the good that unites us as Americans. It's in service to that good that women take their truly equal place in our great democracy. It is with our words and deeds together that we should demand to be fairly judged. That is the final step to full unlimited equality that is our right as American citizens. Signed, freeholder Lillian Burry. Christine, would you come forward to say a few words? Thank you.
Thank you, President Stout. I am so honored to be here today to participate and witness this historic occasion. As the county clerk and a senior election official for the County of Monmouth, and on behalf of Freeholder Director Arnone and all of the Board of Chosen Freeholders who couldn't be with us today, I commend all of you, President Stout, the talented sculptor Brian Hanlon, the Women in Leadership Group, the Brookdale Board of Trustees, for marking the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution, which guaranteed women the right to vote, with such a beautiful and lasting tribute. The extensive fight for women's suffrage involved countless courageous women and men who fought for over 7 decades. These brave activists risked their lives, risked going to jail, as well as alienating friends, family members, and even their spouses. Without their collective resolve and perseverance, we would not enjoy the liberties we enjoy today. It is therefore imperative that we all do everything we can to honor their successes and continue to teach our children and grandchildren about this historic campaign for suffrage. This beautiful sculpture will remind us all and countless future generations of the fight for women's suffrage, and more importantly, inspire them to cherish and preserve the rights established by the 19th Amendment that we are here to celebrate today. The 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment comes at a very special and pertinent time when our country is in the midst of the 2020 presidential election. All the eyes of the world are currently upon the United States as its people will choose its next leader. As we celebrate the granting of women's suffrage 100 years ago, we're reminded of how lucky we are as Americans to have the right to elect our leaders who will represent us. And I would not be serving in this elected position that I am today were it not for the brave suffragists who ensured this precious right for women. Congratulations to all of you on this wonderful project, and thank you for providing this wonderful, lasting tribute to the fight for women's suffrage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christine. We have also with us a few students who are participating with us in this project to mark the occasion of the passage of the 19th Amendment, women's suffrage in general. I'd like to invite Karen Amaro and Maria Monzon to come forward, and also Professor Roseanne Alvarez, who is the advisor for Women in Learning and Leadership. If you want to come forward, please come forward as well. Karen Amaro is now an English education major at Georgian Court University, and Maria is a business and finance major at Columbia University.
Hello all. To me, it's an honor to be standing here before you all. It's very moving to be able to witness this statue being placed here, because I remember walking these halls when I was coming to my math classes, and I remember being in my math classes surrounded with a lot of men and only having another girl there taking an advanced calculus class with me. And I remember walking these halls and saying to myself, well, I wish there would be more people here, more women and more people that look like me walking these halls. And so to me, it's so moving because there is going to be a reminder that women belong in places where decisions are being made, that women have a space in science and STEM fields, that women deserve to also be taking positions of leadership. And so now this is going to be a reminder to all of those women that are coming after me, that are trying to find a place in the world and that are trying to make a space to use their voice and be leaders in the next generation. So I'm very honored to be here today with you all.
I share the same thoughts as Maria and Roseanne and as everybody here, I'm pretty sure. I'm super honored to be working on what's going to go behind this sculpture here. It just means a lot, you know? It's pretty cool that women, we don't really think about it, but just to have something to tribute it, to have something as a reminder, to have something that's long-standing, and just like, you know, to have something that commemorates women. I think it's pretty cool, especially like with the elections coming up. I think it's awesome that I get to be a part of it. I'm super grateful to be a part of this.
I just want to say a quick thank you. First and foremost to Brian. Thank you for being so supportive and so excited for the students to be working on this project. Your vision, your ideas, and the fact that you wanted them to go and make it their own, I mean, it's just truly inspiring. And so I just wanted to say thank you. And I want to thank Anne-Marie and David and everyone who realized that it really is about the students, and to have students kind of construct the installation and the response. They are walking these hallways, and to see themselves reflected symbolically through the statue and represented in the images on the wall will really make a difference. So thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. When the students are finished with their project, we will have not only this incredible statue standing here, but we'll also have the story of women's suffrage on the wall here, on plaques behind the statue. So thank you very much for all the work that you're doing to help to bring that vision to life. And as you said, Professor Alvarez, the students have really led this project. Thank you very much to Brian for enabling that process to take place. I'm very excited to see it when it's all finished. I'd like to invite our famous alumnus, world-renowned artist, and great friend, Brian Hanlon, to come forward and talk with us about his art as well as his inspiration. And as Brian is standing here, I would like to just read quickly the plaque that will go on the statue, which says, "Donated by Brian and Michelle Hanlon, artist, Distinguished Alumnus 2017. The sculpture is a representation of a triumphant moment when all of those brave women walked to Washington, D.C. to enact the 19th Amendment." Thank you very much, Brian.
Well, that's going to be heavier than the statue, I think. Yeah. Geez, this is great to be here today. Good morning, everyone. A couple weeks ago, I was just across the street at CBA, and we broke ground for a George Sheehan statue. And he is a wonderful, wonderful Jersey Shore story who's made a big difference in the world, actually, of running, but a profound difference at the Jersey Shore, really. And those are the subject matters that I'm most interested in, is that people that can really make a profound difference. And women's suffragette movement, really something that I pursued passionately because I had this gut feeling that it wasn't going to be properly celebrated this year, which is true. And I know that sculpture is super permanent. So when you're walking in the hallway, or if it's out, I do a monument outside, you have to stop and take a minute and think about it. So I won a national competition to do a suffragette statue on Long Island. This was my model. Someone asked me how this occurred, and it was as a result of me winning the international competition to do the Susan B. Anthony Monument in her hometown, as well as the one I did in New York State of Harriet Tubman. They're all sort of tied together with the governor's office in New York State. So that's the backstory, if you were wondering, when you asked me how did this come about. That's how it came about. And as usual, I learned so much about the subject by being chosen the artist. I don't want to decorate the landscape. I want to have some meaning to it. So I think the narrative could be, but you guys do what you want to do. I really want you to have full reign on that. But maybe this is someone from Monmouth County, a young woman. Maybe she was influenced by Thompson or funded by Mrs. Thompson, who was quite a character, lived a couple miles, less than a mile from here. And she walked to D.C., which is factually happened. Hundreds of women walked to D.C. and got the 19th Amendment enacted. The important part of that story to understand is that Susan B. Anthony died, and the 19th Amendment was not enacted. And it's just not a known fact. So Mary Stanton died, Susan B. Anthony died, Sojourner Truth died, no 19th Amendment. And there's sort of a disconnect there that I think it's super important for people to understand. Then there was this next wave of warriors, including, what was it, Alice Paul, I think was the New Jersey war, and she was much more militant in her style. And I think without that sort of behavior, it might have not happened then. So that's kind of the academic backstory. And I mean, Susan B. was profoundly, like, incredible at the microphone. So is Sojourner Truth, who in fact could not read or write. But they were so good at the microphone, but could not get it pushed through in D.C. There was just so much resistance. You should read about Susan B. Anthony, the things that she accomplished for women, small things you wouldn't even think about, like the amount of pounds of clothes you had to wear at one time, and she got that taken care of, and a whole bunch of other stuff. It would blow your mind. So the women's suffragette movement is an extremely important study, and it's an extremely important part of, I think, empowerment to a woman in education. And I hope this wall, it'll go all along here, does tell that story, but maybe, as I told David, I think if we even point out modern examples of this, I'm actually finishing a statue of Billie Jean King right now. And I couldn't think of a better example of someone who, based on principle, continues to push forward her agenda, which is legit. She simply wants equal pay for women. She really has no other crazy ideas. That's a pretty good one. And she continues to promote that through her world platform. So there are really good examples like that. And again, those are the subject matters I feel that should have historical markers. This is certainly one of them. So 79, I graduated high school, didn't really know what I wanted to do, came over to Brookdale as a result of my mom's shoe in my butt, and met a guy named Tony Blazer, who completely transformed my life. I mean, my high school teacher was amazing, but this guy, he helped me get it, helped me develop a language through this relationship with clay. And that might sound weird, like if you take it out of context, but he understood the art of molding in clay. And I'll be forever grateful the rest of my life for that. It was so cool. So aside from that, the reason someone else asked me, the reason I'm doing this is during the pandemic, I went to my storage facility, and I have about 100 statues this size sitting for no one to see. And I finally looked around and said, it's time for me to make a difference with this stuff. And absolutely shout out to the Grunin Foundation, because Jeremy's mom and dad, Linda and Jay, still have a pretty big impact on me when I think about who I want to be and what I do. And it's time for me to start giving statues away to make a difference. And I know that's what they would do. So thanks for your family and what they do. And go Jersey Blues. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much, Brian. We are so honored to receive the statue, so excited to have it standing right here. Many of you don't know this, but right through those doors is the Student Life Center. And on the other side of that wall is the Martin Luther King Jr. Lounge. And right here on this southern end of our campus, we have two markers of those moments in time when people had to fight to be fully recognized citizens of our American democracy. We're so excited to have the statue here. So many of our students will walk through those doors when they enter this building, and it's the first thing that they're going to see right here, along with the plaques that are on the wall. So thank you very much, Brian, for your dedication and for your generosity. This really marks the end of my comments. Did anybody else want to come up and say a few words before we break? And Brian, I hope you'll hang around for a few minutes and talk with anybody that wants to speak with you about your art. Did anybody want to say a word or two? Hearing none, thank you all for being here. Go vote. Well, hopefully you voted already.